Welcome back. This is a video to demonstrate how to draw the straight lines, plate, or page 4A from your assignment. I want you to notice that these straight lines, there's an overall rectangle, and that rectangle is parallel to the borderline. There are 4 quadrants, meaning there's a vertical line in the center and a horizontal line in the center. And then there are some horizontal lines, vertical, and angled lines in each rectangle. So I have already drawn a size A sketching title block. I've already put in some information on the bottom as far as the title. I would title this as straight lines. And the scale, because it is a sketch, is not to scale. And this page is going to be page 4A. Now I want to start by drawing a rectangle. And I'm going to be parallel to the borderline I've previously drawn. It's easiest for me to draw a line from left to right. So I'm actually going to do that all 4 times. There's another line. Notice I'm rotating the paper. Because this is a sketch and not a drawing, and I'm not using any tools, then it's relatively easy for me to move the paper around to fit my what's easiest for me. So once you have that rectangle drawn in the center, then you can divide that in half vertically. So I'm taking a look at this and I'm estimating that division in the middle. And again, I'm still going to create a line that's parallel to a line I've previously drawn. I'm going to draw a line in the center. And this I'm going to do a little different. I'm actually going to identify where I want my line to go to. And I'm going to be watching where I want that line to touch. No different than when you're driving a car and you make sure that you're watching where you're going to go. Now, when you see these drawing, count how many lines there are horizontally. It looks like there's 7 lines there. They're almost equally distributed, except for the bottom line, perhaps. So I'm going to count out 7 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That spacing isn't very good, so I'm going to try that again. This time I'm going to go a little smaller each time. Okay, and now the process is just drawing straight lines that are parallel to each other. Notice I'm going all the way across, but you could do shorter lines as long as you're keeping those lines parallel to your original line. So anybody can draw straight lines in relating to parallel. Then I'm going to draw some vertical lines. Trying a little different technique here. I'm drawing straight down as opposed to rotating the paper and drawing across. In the bottom quadrants, I'm going to draw lines that are at a diagonal. I'm going to start with that little one I know that's in the corner, but I'm going to count these lines out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What I do notice is I have 12 lines, but what I do notice is I have a line that ends up right in this corner. So I'm going to create that line moving out from the corner, and then I'm going to count between there 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah, that was one short. I counted that line as one. And now I can actually draw these lines in. I'm going to start with this diagonal line, and then another diagonal line. And then you're just going to draw all of these lines in, finishing the straight line assignment. Okay? The next drawing is actually called a parquet floor. I know it says sketch 1.1b, but in your canvas shell it actually calls out as a parquet floor. I've already drawn a title block. I'm going to label this as a parquet floor. Oops. Parquet floor is when we actually think of an old basketball court or an old gymnasium. And what we do is we alternate the grain of the wood so that the floor, should it expand and contract with moisture, it doesn't move greatly. So we have 3 boards vertically. In the next square, there's 3 boards horizontally, vertically, horizontally, and that's how that's done. Scale is NTS. This is plate, I believe this is plate 5A. Okay. I'm going to zoom in just a bit so you can see that. There we go. All right. Now, again, we have another rectangle, but this rectangle is a little bit farther in. So let's draw that smaller rectangle in. So I'm going to start right about here, and I'm going to draw some shorter lines. I'm a little bit farther away from the border line, and I'm judging my distance away from the border line. I'm going to rotate the paper up where my strong point is really drawing horizontally. Right about like that. Let's try one more time, the shorter version lines. Just trying to make them as horizontal as I can, or straight as I can. And then finally this last line. Okay. Now I want you to recognize that this rectangle that the parquet floor is in is 4 grids or 4 squares by 3 squares. And then there's rectangles within those squares. So just as simple as it sounds, divide this into thirds. Now when you divide into fourths, well, I can cut it in half and then cut that in half. And now it's just a matter of drawing those lines straight. Again, I'm judging that top line. I'm gonna draw this line now in relationship to the one above it to make a horizontal line. Let's try to do a vertical line down. Vertical down. I know you welders out there have heard that before. And then one more. Line's not quite as straight as I'd like. Probably should take just a little bit more time. And then notice this first square, 3 rectangles. A line in thirds. And then another third. Oop. So take your time. Don't use any tools or straight edges, but create all of those lines needed in each sketch. There's a total of 6 sketches, sketches 4 through 10A, and there's a couple of different styles. Okay? Now, one of the things is you're going to need to take a photo, a quality photo of your sketch. And then once you do take that quality photo, you're going to need to get that photo into a format that you can put it into a PowerPoint or a Google slide. And the way I do it is I actually take a photo with my camera, and then I use my aux cable, and I actually just copy and paste those photos from the camera right into a file that I've created called INDRB12. And that's how I do that. Another way you could do it is you could pick a wall, tape this to a wall that has good lighting. Make sure it's a quality photo for grading. I know some cameras have a scanner on it. You can take a picture of it with that, make a PDF. PDF will also go into a PowerPoint or Google slide. I'll talk more about that in class, but that is how you draw and do the sketching assignments.